morning and welcome to Smell the Coffee on this beautiful Friday morning. You are joined by me, Diana Master, as we bring you some bizarre news, some oddities, and of course some celebrity news. Though today's episode is a lot more focused on some clinical breakthroughs. Yeah, some clinical breakthroughs are happening in the world, and of course Smell the Coffee is bringing you the latest advancements in technology. But before we get into that, tomorrow is, well, rather starting today, the NSSR finals are taking place. And here's what you can expect. Here's some action that you can expect this weekend. Let's take a look.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Now, starting off our top stories, Merck Moderna claim promising skin cancer vaccine results in key trial. U.S. pharmaceutical firms Merck and Moderna announced Wednesday encouraging results from a trial of their experimental vaccine against melanoma, potentially clearing the way for approval. The vaccine, called Intismeran Autogene, showed statistically significant and clinically meaningful improvements for skin cancer patients when used with Merck's Keytruda treatment, the company said in a statement. Unlike conventional vaccines, so-called therapeutic vaccines like Intismeran treat rather than prevent a disease by training the body's own immune system against a tumor or other invaders. This represents the first positive phase 3 readout for an individualized neoantigen therapy, INT, and for an mRNA-based cancer therapy, the company said. They were referring to messenger RNA technology, which proved highly effective against serious forms of COVID-19. They did not provide specific details of the study results, nor say when the U.S. Food and Drug Administration might accept the vaccine's admission for approval. Both the FDA and the European Medicines Agencies have placed the therapy on an expedited review pathway. Melanoma is one of the most deadly forms of skin cancer, with over 330,000 new cases diagnosed worldwide in just 2022, the company said. For many years, the idea of creating an mRNA treatment designed specifically for an individual patient's cancer was aspirational. We're now helping turn that vision into a reality, Modern's CEO Stefan Bancel said in a statement. In pre-market trading on the New York Stock Exchange, Moderna's shares were surging around 65% ahead of the official opening on Wednesday. So this kind of brings back, remember that the whole conspiracy theory that most of these sicknesses are lab created, and most of the times when they create these so-called illnesses and diseases, they already have vaccines in hand. I don't know, man. It's starting to kind of become, I don't know, it feels like it's kind of true, some of these conspiracy theories, because I mean, remember with COVID-19 came and then they had a vaccine real quick. So it kind of begs the question, if they could find a cure for COVID so fast, why can't they find cures for diseases that have been around for longer? Things like cancer, things like HIV, things like, diabetes. I don't know. It does seem like a conspiracy theory where people say they do have the vaccines, they just don't want to give them yet. Because first of all, I think some of them say that they want to do population control. Some of them say it's because they want to capitalize, like Big Pharma want to capitalize on these medicines. Because then if everybody's cured, then Big Pharma doesn't really make money. But hey, these are all just conspiracy theories. Now, moving over to our next story, scientists remove the extra chromosome that causes Down syndrome. This is some groundbreaking technology. Now, in Down syndrome, a person has an extra copy of chromosome 21. It is still the most common live birth survivable chromosomal disorder, with an incidence of about 1 in 700. It is known for more than 50 years that Down syndrome is, at least in most cases, caused by trisomy 21. However, until now, there has been no dependable way to remove this extra chromosome from these cells. Scientists at Mie University in Japan have made a big step forward in Down syndrome research. They used the CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing system for the first time to excise that extra copy of chromosome 21 from human cell lines. But this was not just cell behavior, it restored near normal cellular function, suggesting a basis for future genetic therapies. Now, CRISPR-Cas9 acts as a more precise DNA cutting system. Ryotaro Hashizume, an MDA postdoctoral fellow in Dr. Shonyong Park's lab, developed the custom-designed molecular guides that allow the CRISPR system to home in on only the extra copy of chromosome 21, leaving the healthy ones untouched. After removing the extra chromosome, the cell appears to function normally and express genes in a manner specific for each affected tissue, the Down syndrome's supergenome. Now, after removing an extra chromosome from the edited cells, the cells survived longer, grew faster, and produced fewer harmful metabolic byproducts. The physical changes indicate that mitochondrial function was more efficient, resulting in a full restoration of cellular health. The method was successful with stem and skin cells from patients with Down syndrome, hinting at some generalizability to more differentiated tissues. The research is still limited to the laboratory, but it's a breakthrough. Now, removing a full extra chromosome from human cells for the first time. The research team is currently working to perfect the protocol's safety and accuracy and to prevent natural DNA repair mechanisms from undergoing genetic edits in chromosomes. So yes, some groundbreaking technology. Yeah, I mean, as of late, well, up until now, they did do tests in pregnant women to determine if the baby was going to be born with Down syndrome, and they even give you the option to terminate the pregnancy. So I mean, knowing that now scientists have discovered a way to cut out that extra chromosome definitely means that we are seeing, I don't know, we're living in the future, basically. But anyway, that does bring us to the end of our top stories. Now, right after the break, we get into an interview segment with SolveX. Stick around.
Do you like traveling?
Do you like to experience new places?
Well, then you should tune into On the Rock, where we explore enjoy establishments all over Namibia and South Africa. Great food, great fun, and so much more. So be sure to mark your calendar as we explore the beautiful landscapes of Namibia at the various enjoy establishments.
And where we also get to go on game drives, different activities, and meet the awesome staff of the different establishments.
We will see you there. Watch On the Rocks every Monday at 9 p.m. on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25.
I'm joined in studio by a visionary artist, someone who has worn many hats and always wants to show up as authentic as possible to every project. Good morning, X. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you doing, Tenora?
I'm quite excited to have you in studio. I'm quite excited to have this conversation early on in the year because you're one of the artists that I always look out for in terms of just the work that you're doing. And everything that you do is, always inspiring, and you're always pushing yourself to the next limit.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So how has the year 2026 been? I know it's quite early, but how has it been so far as an artist?
As an artist so far, in an individual capacity, I think 2026 looks very promising. Again, I always like to say this. I feel like there's a new temperature in the art industry, in the creative industry, and myself as an artist, there's a lot that you can plan for. There's a lot that sounds exciting, that sounds like it's going to, sort of flourish. So again, like you said, it's very early on in the year, so you can't say too much. You don't want to jinx things that you have planned, but there's a positive start to it individually. But the world doesn't look very bright at the moment. So there's obviously that thing of like trying to balance reality with your optimism, So
speaking of that, and also how artists need to be a voice or the mirror to where society is, or the reflection of the times. I've seen most of your work, and it really does that. Your last play, you were, tackling quite a few heavy themes, but it was also inspired because this is, what I see in the community, and I'm just reflecting the times. How important is that for you as an artist to always, hold up the mirror to society?
I think that's the role of every artist, actually. In fact, everyone that has even if you're not an artist as a profession, if you have a sketch pad at home, it's important for you to reflect what it is that inhibits you internally and whatever you see as going on in the world around you. Because that's how you preserve who you are, and that's how you preserve, let's say, the national identity of a country. It's by creating the art that reflects that. It has been quite a journey trying to really find my footing in expressing what, because it's very difficult to be honest as an artist, especially when you start commercializing your art. You want to meet the standard, the status quo, whatever is popular, whatever is trending. And most of the time, things that are reflective of society, people don't want to consume substance anymore. You know, we live in a world, the digital era or whatever, but we live in a world where it's so easy to consume things. You know, it's like you just scroll. It's just art, even on social media. So creating art that challenges, that makes people think critically about the world around them, about themselves, it's important. And I think it's the role of every artist to some degree. Even if you make abstract art, you need art that makes people think about themselves and about the world they live in, essentially.
I love that. And you did speak on trends as well, and how it's important to try to be as authentic as possible, but still, you know, be in the know of the trends that are happening. What kind of trends are you seeing right now, or trends that we might be heading into in the industry?
So with, let me start with, artists have become independent curators and creators now, especially with the advent and the promise of, you know, the internet era and the technologies like AI and AR and VR and all these new technologies that are driving what it means to be an artist in a completely new direction. And it's trending also, of course. I mean, we saw, like, with the advent of social media, it became much more easier to sort of disseminate your art globally, because you are in charge of it. You are in charge of distribution, because, you know, the internet platforms and social media platforms made that possible. So when was the internet introduced? Like early 2000s. So now in 2026, you know, it's taken a level that is
where you can be a business on your own, and you don't need all this other factors or agents
and people outside of
record labels and whatnot. It also removes a level of, I'm not saying all record labels are bad, but or companies per se that house and manage artists are bad, but there were issues in the past where you hear stories of, like, artists, I mean, I sold how many millions of albums or books, what have you, but I didn't make so much money from it because of the contracts I signed.
So there's that sense of, like, independence, of being drawn away as an individual artist, being drawn away from institutions, and being able to own your art, own your work, direct the channel in which it flows, things like that.
And also own your voice as well.
Own your voice as well.
Very important, which is, I've seen quite a few artists blow up just on social media. And I don't see them, like, being signed on to anybody, but you can see that they have, like, millions of views on YouTube, and they are doing their own thing, which is very nice and holistic.
They themselves become the brand, the entity, the company.
Yes.
You know, as an individual artist, you become the institution that sort of produces the work that you create as an artist.
Do you think that this new trend, especially the use of social media, is good news for Namibian artists? Because there's always been that notion that, if you're an artist in Namibia, you're just going to suffer, you're going to starve. So do you think that this is a platform for us as artists to, you know, get on and, you know, just see where it goes?
I can answer that in two ways. One, it's not just social media, but other technologies, like we said now, the new trends that are happening, artificial intelligence and so forth. I think there's two ideas that you can have to it, like a positivist one and a negativist one. One, the Namibian industry, the creative arts industry, like I said, you know, it's only now with with the administration of the current president where we see some kind of recognition and true appreciation and acknowledgement of the importance of art, and trying to, you know, distribute resources to build the industry. But then it also comes at a point where like the technology is so advanced to the point where you don't have it's in let's say in first world countries, creative industries are being threatened by our own creations, by technology. You don't need a whole set to create a film. You don't need a director, producer, writer. You just need AI. You just need AI and a producer. Because script writing,
which is a bit sad.
You know.
Yes.
So if that same reality sort of presented onto Namibia in this, it's not in the early stages. I mean, the art industry has been around. You know,
Yeah.
we have had artists for decades since our independence. But in my experience, having conversations with people that are sort of the veterans of the art industry in Namibia, the older filmmakers, the older cultural practitioners, I always sense a bit of like a sense of not regret, like spitefulness. Like, why only now? Like, we are old, we're about to retire, and
And
only
now it's just starting to pick up.
you know, it's only starting to pick up now, and you see it, it's very palpable when you enter rooms where people are having conversation on trying to formulate policies around the art creative industries. You know, the older people always seem to be a little bit more, you know, frustrated for their fact because they're about to retire. And then there's an idea that my generation, Gen Z, doesn't really understand the importance of art to a society, because again, everything is so cheap and so easy to make, and you can create a Mona Lisa with a prompt, you know, like the process of
writing, even academically, you can see that the time it used to take to study for something and what have you, you know, I have to read a whole textbook. Now I can just put a prompt, please summarize, I'm doing a test and this is what we're going to focus. Summarize the most important things that I need to know about this, and that's it. And then I go and write the test and I pass. But I have not sat down and you know, consumed a work of somebody, a body of work. Do you get it? It's just snippets of it. And yeah, I hear what you're saying. So the world is moving to that. Speaking of AI and the creative industry, we're seeing more and more writers, musicians, what have you, are using AIs. And there is a positive to it. I've listened to some music or musicians who've used AI.
Oh, okay. I thought you said I thought you were going to say AI artists.
Yeah, not AI artists. They would, let's say I don't have a producer, so AI does my producing for me. And I can see how it helps, especially when you're starting out and you don't have the money to pay for a producer, what have you. So there's this guy that I'm following on social media. He used AI to create his beats, but the vocals is his, which I have to say I respect him for that. And I love that that's the direction he's going for, because it's quite expensive, especially if you're starting out. But at the same time, it takes away from the human touch.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point of it all. AI can do incredible things. It can make work so much more effective, so much more efficient, so much more convenient and easier to do in any industry, you know, especially in the arts. But then it takes away from that human touch.
Yeah.
And so let's say I'm a bit of a negativist. Maybe I've watched too much
Black Mirror.
Futuristic sci-fi films about AI taking over the world or whatever. The first thing as an artist that I would fear is that instead of, you know, thinking about robotics, we won't be able to do anything. You have an AI that's cleaning your room, your house. You have an AI that drives, or you take a robot or whatever, electric car, whatever, that drives your kids to school. You know, you don't have to go anywhere and do anything, because you have created these technologies that can do everything for us, and then humans basically just become people that eat and sleep, consume. The perfect utopia of AI and technology. But what would that mean for art? That means nothing that we consume is created by the hands of a human. You watch a movie, a film, it's generated. You see a painting, it's generated. You listen to music, it's generated. It's written, it's produced, everything, all the elements of that goes into making music. So I do respect people that are trying to move with the time, artists that are trying to move with the times, like the person you mentioned that would make a beat with AI but still put their own vocals. But at one point, someone else is going to realize, no, it's easier to just also let AI generate my voice. Let me record my voice. And then at one point, we don't have any original art or
anymore.
human art with human touch to it. And I like to quote, it's a German philosopher, I don't know if you know him, but Friedrich Nietzsche. I know you like philosophy.
I know him. Of course I'll know him.
Yeah. And he had this idea that in order for humans, the point of being alive on this earth as a human being is to sort of struggle. And if you're going to project that into your art, AI doesn't have struggle. You know, it just analyzes.
There's no human soul to it.
Exactly.
A human touch brings the endurance, the suffering, the joy, what have you, and that's what makes it so unique and palpable to everybody else. So I definitely agree with that. Now, X, we really, you know, got carried away, and you and I will always, you know, have long conversations. But it was so nice to have you in studio to divulge some of these thoughts, and just also open our minds to just like, okay, this might be cool, but what does it mean in the long term for society and for us as artists as well? So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Solve X, and yeah, this is a very beautiful conversation.
Thank you so much. All right, with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow, same time, same place.